friends, Valeria here from Chase and Paper, and today I am excited to share with you my brand new no-sew pocket journals. Here they are. I made two quick prototypes. They are quick and easy to make, and they're fun to make. You only need very basic supplies. You don't need to touch a needle or to pull out your sewing machine to make them. You'll see in a minute how simple they are. Basically, if you only have a manila folder and a few pages of regular printer paper, just a regular paper, that's all you need. Other supplies include a glue stick, a pair of scissors, a stapler, and a totally optional bond folder. And those are the basic supplies. I believe everyone has them just in their office or just at home. So let's just move supplies aside. So as I was saying, these quick and easy journals, making perfect little gifts for your mom just in time for Mother's Day gifts, and for your friends, and just for any occasion or even for yourself. They are so functional. I'm going to talk about their functionality in a minute. But in the meantime, let's look at the prototype and let's just see how these are made. Let me give you a quick breakdown on the first one. Move this one aside for now. So this one I specifically made for the recipes for someone who loves to cook. Cover of this journal is made with manila folder, and I kind of just covered the manila folder with a scrapbook paper, and I used the fussy cut image of a housewife that came from a vintage sewing pattern, and I added the word recipes right here. So just a quick basic collage, and I also used a vintage trim on the side here. And the same thing is in the back of the journal. So that's a quick, simple cover. Now inside, I lined the inside cover with a vintage cookbook page. Since this is for the recipes, it seemed very fitting. And this journal contains 5 pockets. 2, 3, 4, 5. Here they are. So as I mentioned, this one is specifically for the recipes for someone who likes to cook. So I'm making this for my mom, and she's often complaining how she has so many recipes that her cookbook is overflowing, and she can't find any recipes that she knows she had for a long time, or maybe the new ones that she just printed, put in there, and wanted to try them out, but she can no longer find them. So this is meant to be just like a small little organizer that's going to keep maybe a couple of, just a few recipes in each category, in each pocket. So as you can see, I labeled each pocket with a category, with the basic category. So we have soups, salads, vegetables, meat and poultry, and desserts. What I used for these labels is this pack of adhesive label holders that came from a Dollar Tree. It's totally optional. The reason I wanted to use them is because this way my mom can easily switch out the word on the inside and maybe change the category if that's something that she wants to do. Now, if you're making one for yourself, or you know which categories your recipient is going to use, you could just glue the paper or let the recipient do it. What I'm basically getting at that these slider holders are completely optional. So this is the first journal. Like I said, only 5 pages in it, but plenty of room. And as you can see, I already got this one started with a few recipes that I think my mom might like. So there are a couple here. There is a little more there. They just basically clipped recipes and printed recipes from like various sources. As far as the paper is concerned, so I used this pack of paper. It's time-worn textiles, and it's by Park Lane, and I bought it at Joann's, I believe. So these are some just beautiful images here. And thickness of this paper and the size of this scrapbook paper is the same one as just like a regular copy paper that you would use for your printer at home, which makes it perfect. It's not thick, it's a thin paper that folds nicely, which is why I used it. So instead of just a regular printer paper, which you could use as just a plain paper, or you can decorate it with rubber stamps or with drawings or maybe stencils. That's one option. But instead of that, you can use scrapbook paper in a similar size, or even book pages in a similar size. Anything will work here. Just make sure your paper is not too thick and it folds nicely without breaking at the folds. All right, so this is our first prototype. Let's look at the second prototype. So this one is made for someone who is going on a vacation or who likes to travel. And I used, again, the cover is a manila folder covered with a map. And on the front cover, I made this little, try to get in camera, just, I think we can see it, yes. I made a little collage with a family that goes on a trip. This came from a vintage book, and I clipped these words from the same book. It says, "Here we go," and I decorated it with a bit of liquid pearls in a pewter color right here in the corners. So that's what I did here. Now this little booklet has 7 pockets as opposed to 5 in the cooking booklet. I added a little pocket here on the front cover. This is a plain card that I just made into an L-shaped pocket, and this would be a perfect place to tuck in like a little gift card. If you're given this little journal as a gift, it would be a nice little fun addition. This is just a plain card, but I'm just demonstrating how nicely a little gift card would go in there. And these pockets are just shaped a little different. I made them into a petticoat style, so they kind of peek from behind each other so that you can see all the beautiful patterns on all the papers that you choose to put in there. There, but they still have the same functionality. They're pockets, so you can see. You can put your travel ephemera in there, maybe some maps you collect along the way, maybe some just, I don't know, paper napkins from your favorite restaurants, just all sorts of fun ephemera. Or you can have little cards made to go with it, and you can write on cards. So, like I said, these two really functional. So let's take a moment and talk about their functionality and how to use them. So basically, these are perfect little organizers, and you can use them as a journal. You can write your entries on separate cards and then just tuck them inside. Really, there is no limit on how you could use this. You can use one to collect your ideas, collect outfit ideas, decorating ideas, recipes, even your favorite quotes from TV series or books. So there is no limit on how to use one. And what's perfect, they're designed to be small, and you could easily take one with you to go. It should fit in your handbag really nicely. And it's just a perfect and easy way to get organized and to get you started on your writing. Sometimes we have trouble with, how to start writing in our journal. Well, this one, because it has sections that are already labeled for you, this one should get you started easily. Kind of gives you ideas on what to write about. Okay, so now that I explained what a great little treasure this is, let's make one. So today I'm going to work with the same pack of paper that I showed you before. It's Time Worn Textiles by Park Lane, and I already chose 7 pieces of scrapbook paper. They're all the size of the standard copy paper. These are my pages. Make sure we are aligned. And we are going to make a journal in the same size as my prototype. Now remember, it's optional. If you want a larger or smaller journal, you can just adjust the size of your pockets. And the size of your cover will obviously get adjusted accordingly. So the first thing we're going to do, we are going to gather our papers that we chose. By the way, I meant to mention, you can, this is a great way to use your favorite digital printables. You could just print them out from your favorite shop. I recommend Etsy. And just choose your favorite printables and use that for your pockets instead of just a plain copy paper. Okay, so you collect your papers. The whole stack is here. You flip it over. Just make sure it's all together. You can clip them. I'm not even going to clip it. It's a pretty simple project here. I'm going to use this mat as a guide. Basically, what you want to do is you want to fold all your papers at the same time. And instead of folding them exactly in half, I am going to leave about, maybe just about an inch of space here on my left side. Okay, ready? We're going to fold all the papers together like this. All done. The pages are folded. And you can see, of course, here you're going to have a couple of millimeters that the bottom paper is going to be longer than the top one, but that's okay. It will get adjusted later on in the process. So now I have all 7 pages folded together. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this end inside about half an inch. Again, I'm folding all the papers at the same time, anywhere about half an inch to an inch. There you go. And I folded them. So now we have something that looks like that. And lastly, I am going to fold it on the bottom. Also about an inch to maybe half an inch. Just like that. I know it's a lot of folding. Well, you can open it here. It's going to make it easier to fold. Again, this is not going to be perfect because that's a lot of paper to fold, but that's okay. You will see how we're going to use the creases. We just need this crease for a guide, basically. There. And this is what I have now. So I'm opening the paper up to just show you what we wound up with. Now I'm going to work with each paper separately to make the pocket page. So as you can see, it's going to close like this. This is the side that's going to be connected onto the spine of our booklet. And this is the bottom that we are going to close. So let's work on closing the bottoms of our pockets. So in order to do it, I'm going to flip my paper now. I'm going to use this crease line as a guide, and I'm going to fold it backwards on my crease line. So basically we only folded it in order to give us a guide at the exactly same spot on each paper, because it's going to make it easier and faster to make all the 7 pockets in the same size. Okay, now that I folded it backwards, I'm going to get my scissors and I'm going to cut all the extra paper off. So I'm cutting a small angle on this corner and a small angle right here up to this crease line. There you can see now it looks something like a pocket, right? Just like that. Except now we can see that we have a lot of extra paper, right? So I'm going to open it and cut off all my extra paper, and I'm using my crease as a guideline on what to cut. There. This is what we should get as an end result. This is what we're going to make with every page, okay? So it's a pretty simple process. Once you make one, you should get a hang of it. Let's go to the next one. Let's get the next paper that we folded. Again, I'm going to use this crease that we made. I'm going to flip it over, fold it backwards on the crease line, flip it over again, cut my little corner here, cut my little corner here, up to the crease line, see, always check to make sure that you do not cut any paper that you might need. So this is your pocket, so you know you don't need anything on this side. And I'm going to cut all the extra paper on this side. Of course, there's a million and one ways to make this. This is just a quick and easy way of making all the 7 pockets all together and in the same size. There, it's ready. And it's all done. We have a couple more, I think 2 more. Okay, flipping it over. Folding it. Cutting my little corner off here and there. Can flip it over again and cut off my extras on the bottom. Don't need any extra flaps. If you make a mistake and cut an extra part off, remember it's only paper. You can always get more, right? You can always get more paper, so just remember to take it easy and have fun. There. That's another pocket ready to be assembled. So we should have 7 identical or almost identical pockets ready to be assembled. All right, we're going to get to it. So now we are going to assemble our pockets. For this, I'm bringing in my Scotch Create glue stick. This is my glue stick of choice. It's a really sticky glue stick, and it works just fine for this little project here. I'm going to get something to use for a glue mat. This is just a folder that I'm recycling for this. And I'm just going to put it underneath so I don't get glue all over my cutting mat. I'm putting my paper printed side down, and I'm going to put the glue here and then just close it. I'm not worrying about the bottom part right now, just this flap on every single one of my pages. All right, now I'm bringing in my glue mat, and we're going to knock this out really quick. There. Done. This is my first one, it's done. My second one. Closing it. So This is my second one, done. All right, we're done with this part. I'm going to close my glue stick. Don't want it to dry. Now that this part is over, you might want to just grab any ruler and go inside of each pocket and just make sure that the pocket is still open and that we did not glue it together on the inside. See, this one looks good. Just going to double check while the glue is still wet or somewhat wet. Would be a good time to come in with your ruler and to make sure and unseal anything that might have glued inside on accident. So any places that we don't want glued, we gotta make sure that they are unstuck. There. This way we save ourselves some trouble in the long run. Done. And this one. Perfect. So now we are going to seal the bottom flaps. So we're going to put the glue on the white part here and then close it like this. We're going to do it on every page. Okay, my glue stick again. There. It's closed. Next. It's closed. So here they are. Now we have all 7 pockets. Now we want to flip them, assemble them in whichever order you want to put them into your booklet. So let's see. I think I like this purple one in front. So maybe just like this. There. I like that order right there. Now I'm going to put them together and I'm going to make sure that this side right here, it's all sitting together, and I want to make sure their bottoms are also sitting together. So again, I'm aligning my bottom corner, that's the closed end, and this end without the white tails. Just like this. I'm gonna bump them a few times. You might notice a very slight difference in their sizes, and that's okay. That's we're going to fix that. So after I do this, I'm going to clip them. There, to make sure they stay together. All right. So this is what we come up with now. We have all 7 pockets put together. This is our bottoms. This is our outer end. This is our top. And these are the tails. Now the tails are too big at this point. So I'm going to bring my paper cutter. You can use scissors, but the paper cutter is easier. And I'm going to leave only about 3/4 inch right here of the white line. Oh, there we go. Now we can start working on our manila folder cover. So here's my manila folder. I'm only going to use half of it. So with my paper cutter or scissors, I'm going to cut this folder just at the crease line. I obviously can't use this side because just because of the uneven ends. So I'm going to cut them off to see how much I have to work with. And now I have a perfect rectangle. I'm going to bring in my booklet. And I'm just going to measure without measuring, just see where it would fit. Actually, a simpler way is to just fold your manila folder in half. Might want to get a pencil just to make life easy and to mark where your booklet is going to live inside this cover. Okay, you want to leave about maybe 1/8 of an inch on top, on the side, and maybe on the bottom. That's exactly what I'm going to do. There. Now I'm going to cut it to size. Probably can't see, but my mark is right here. I'm going to put it on top, and this mark is right here. So this is how much I'm going to take off on top. And where's my bottom? Basically, you just cutting it down to size. It appears I cut off my marks, so I don't know how wide it needs to be. So I'm just gonna put my booklet again and mark it again. And I'm good to go now. There. So the size should be good. We're checking again, and I am happy with the size of this cover. Everything is good. Now I need to put one crease on just the front part of my cover. This crease is going to be the size of this white margin. So you can either measure it with a ruler and then find the crease here and make it the same size, or you could just use the booklet to measure it. This is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just kind of going to fold it this way. Yep. And crease it. Yep. Just like that. Fold it and crease it. Now I'm putting my booklet aside for now. And now is the fun part. We're going to decorate the cover. So this is going to be your inside cover, and this is the outside cover. You can use stencils and make it pretty with your stencils. You can leave it plain. You can decorate it with anything you like. I'm going to follow what I did with my prototype. And I'm going to use a piece of scrapbook paper to put on the front. So I'm going to put the glue on the side, on the outside of my cover, and just stick it onto the scrapbook paper. All right. And here we go. So bringing in my rag to help me with the glue. You want to push from the center towards your ends to make sure you don't get any bubbles, any pockets of air in there. You can actually use any glue of your choice, but I would recommend not using any white wet glue or anything like Mod Podge, because that's going to warp your manila folder. You don't want that. So next, I need to handle these edges. Before I do that, I am going to cut the corners under the angle like this. Like this. Just a slight angle to help us wrap things in nicely. There we go. Now I'm going to put the glue on the sides first. There's one side. Done. Doing the same thing on our last long side here. Especially we want to make sure that it stays right here in this area where we have creases. We want to make sure it stays nicely down and flat, so it doesn't open up in the crease area. There you go. And this is what we have now. This is the inside of our cover, and this is the outside. I'm going to retrain the crease again. This crease right here. My apologies, I'm back. It looks like I had a problem with filming, and we didn't film for the last couple of minutes or so. Luckily though, we did not miss any important steps. As I was saying, we were finished with lining the outside of our cover, and then I was saying we retrained the crease, and then all I did, apparently off camera, is I lined the inside cover with another piece of scrapbook paper, which I also measured by just putting it on top of my interior cover, and I also rounded the corners because I just happen to like the look with the rounded corners right there. So that's all I have done while off camera. And so now the cover is ready, and we are ready to put a little collage here if that's what you want to do. But before we do that, let's just put our booklet in, and I'll show you how simple, a simple way to attach it without any sewing. Okay, so basically we are going to use a stapler. We're putting our booklet, our pockets, we're making sure we have all 7. Yes, we do. We're putting them right inside. We push them all the way to the crease with this white margin side, like that. And you might want to leave just a little bit, just a couple of millimeters of that white margin showing. That's going to make it easier to flip these pocket pages. So once you've done that, you close the booklet carefully. Double check, make sure you're happy with where your pages are going, because once you attach them, that's where they're going to stay, obviously. So I'm just doing my double check, pulling it out just a couple of millimeters. There we go. And now I am going for my trusty stapler. Nothing fancy here, just a regular office stapler. And I'm going to put 4 staples, I believe, for this one. Honestly, 3 is probably plenty, but just make sure that you put in your staples on the front part of your booklet, not the back, but the front. Okay, and I'm starting right here. That's the first staple. Second staple. Third. Oh no, don't fail me now. This happens. Stapler jam. Probably run out of staples. Let me clear the jam and I'll be right back. All right, stapler disaster is averted. Everything is well in the world again. Fingers crossed. Hopefully it works now. And yes, it worked and all good. So now your journal, your booklet is assembled. Look at these beautiful pockets. All your beautiful pockets are in place. And they look magnificent. Now let's turn our attention to the front of the booklet. I feel like it needs to be decorated, so we're going to make something simple here. I'm thinking just a little collage. I'm going into my word bank / image bank. Not going to fuss too much. Okay, so this is kind of a generic booklet. It could be used for anything. I really like this image of this lovely lady that I clipped from an old magazine. So I think she looks good here. So she's going to live on the cover. And maybe, just maybe, I need a little word or something here. Because I'm trying to make it generic and inspirational. Let's see what we have. We have NYC's Best Love, The Joy of Spring, no. Winter Fun, no. How it works, that's kind of cool. So I'm thinking either Best Loved or Sweet as a Breeze. And I decided to go with the words Sweet as a Breeze. I mounted them on a piece of scrap and kind of contrasting color. And it sort of matches her outfit, so I like that. And next, I worked on covering up the staples. If you remember in my prototypes, I left one booklet with staples uncovered, just because, mostly because it's a very busy pattern here. And the staples kind of don't bother me here all that much. But over here, I covered it with vintage trim on the front and back. So I'm going to do something very similar here. Instead of a trim, I'm using this ribbon right here. It's just a white and silver ribbon. I feel like it matches the design very nicely. I'm using clear silicone glue fabric tag by Beacon to attach my ribbon. So I did the front. Now I'm going to do the back with you. I'm just running a thin line right over my staples and all along the end. Again, we're working with the back now. You can smoosh it with a piece of paper if you don't like. If you like me and don't like getting all that glue on your fingers, you can use just a bit of, like a little piece of scrap there. And I am applying my ribbon. This clear silicone glue dries very fast. All right, I'm going to close my glue bottle, put it away. Now I'm going to trim my extras. I always leave a little extra because it kind of helps with the precise placement of your trim or ribbon. There. It's one side. And that's my other side. The staples are covered and hidden. And here we go, we are done with the cover. And I think it looks very nice. Now let's look inside. You might want to choose to add a pocket right here if that's something you like. I think I'm just going to leave it plain for the purposes of keeping this video a little shorter. And the pockets, now you have an option of either making a little thumb hole on the top. You would do it with your circle punch. You would just come in and get several pockets. Come along with this and just punch. But I'm not going to do that. I think I'm just going to make my petticoat design to just show you how I made that, because I think it's a little more different, you know, a little more difficult than just a circle punch. So what I'm going to do, I'm taking my ruler and I am going to leave about half an inch from the spine and just making a random angle line like this. This is going to be my shortest pocket. Now I'm going to cut right along the line. I'm cutting just one pocket out. Now my next pocket, I'm going to make just a little longer. So I'm going to use the ruler again and draw a parallel line. Let me make sure I'm on camera. There we go. I'm going to draw a parallel line parallel to this cut I just made, just like this. And I'm going to cut it right along the line with my scissors. I'm going to do the same with every page. So as you can see, every next page is kind of picking out, so it's a little longer than the page before. And you get to see all the different designs, and your pockets are just a slightly different lengths. Again, I'm not doing any measuring, I'm just making sure that my cuts are parallel to each other. And I'm using a ruler to make sure that my lines are straight. If you can do it without the ruler, to you the power. I need a little help with the ruler and my lines. Next. And I believe we have just a couple more pockets. Oh, that's the last one. Yep, that's my last pocket. So I'm going to cut it right about here. And there you go. You got a beautiful petticoat design pockets. Four, 5, 6. That's strange. I thought we had 7 pockets to begin with. Maybe I lost one along the way. But 6 works just as well. And here's our newest booklet. I think it looks wonderful. It was fun to make. I hope you can make some. Thank you so much for watching this video. And if you like it, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel and please share this video with a friend. It's really going to help my growing YouTube channel so that I can share more ideas and make more videos. Thank you so much.